Today I want to do a little test. I've got my sunglasses on, bright orange. Kind of want to see how that has an effect on how many nags I get. I think it decreases the number of nags you get. But we're going to narrate a drive across town here. Yeah, we're on 11.4.9. We are waiting for version 12. We're waiting patiently. Elon, very patiently. Other testers have gotten version 12, just a couple. Yeah, we're still waiting. It's a game changer, so we would like it. Nice stop there at the stop sign as we're heading left. Heading up to Melrose here. We're going to be taking a right and then heading into downtown. I got a new audio system. Hopefully you guys can tell a difference. Nice sunny day out. Got 2 lanes of traffic on a divided road. We got to creep out because of this fence. Saw that car nicely, and good turn to the right. So yeah, good day for a drive. But yeah, version 12 is going to change everything. We want those neural nets. We're waiting for them. We've accumulated a lot of data over the last 4 or 5 months that we're looking forward to taking version 12 through as we get our first nag here, wearing our sunglasses. Yeah, we want to take version 12. If you go and look at our channel, we've pushed this thing to the limit on 11.4.9. Found a lot of edge cases and dozens. I want to take version 12 to those same edge cases and compare how it does. I want to have a little discussion about the last short that I put up. I posed a question that I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on it. And it has to do with unanticipated objects and version 12. I was driving down the highway and there was a pickup truck that had some secured items, but the degree to which they were secured is a bit of a mystery to me. Anyway, as a human, I know to stay out of the way of something like that. Now, obviously version 11.4.9 beta has nothing built into it to be able to detect something like that. But what's interesting is that version 12 has the capacity to take visual data of a dangerous or potentially dangerous situation like unsecured items in the back of a pickup and avoid risk. What you would have to do is feed the supercomputer a lot of training data on instances where there were objects that fell out of a vehicle as we get our second nag, and label that as undesirable training data. And then you'd have to have training data where there was unsecured items in the back of a pickup. Let's say the vehicle avoided or anticipated, stayed out of the way, and then maybe that material fell out of the pickup and avoided collision with the vehicle. If you had training data like that and labeled it as good and fed that through the neural network, in theory you could actually train it to avoid potentially dangerous situations like that. We got lanes merging here, and we do have a car in our back left. We'll see what happens here. Picks up both cars. We're going to have to merge in between these two. Following very closely, but did so okay. You know, another thing that you could train version 12 on would be anticipating objects appearing behind other objects or from other objects. Like the example I always give is, as we get our third nag, the example I always give is like somebody jumping out from behind a parked car, or somebody pushing a baby in a stroller from behind a parked car that's on the side of the road. As a human, if I'm driving down the road, I'm looking, I'm seeing what objects are on the side of the road. I'm anticipating always that there could be something behind those objects. Now, if you don't train the neural network on that kind of visual data, you're only going to have reactionary things. In other words, the computer's only going to be trained to react to colliding into an object that it sees coming across its path. Now, it's going to be able to do that really, really quickly, faster than a human would be able to react, which is great. But you want to also train it on anticipation. So, in other words, these two people that are up here on the right, on the bike and on the scooter, I am anticipating that they could veer to the left. The computer isn't anticipating that. It sees them as vectors not to collide with, but you could actually feed training data into it where you had vectors move in an unexpected direction, for example, or vectors pop out of stationary objects on the right, somebody hiding behind a trash can and jumping out, and you could actually train the vehicle to anticipate things that could be behind objects that it can't see behind. I assume that that's what they're going to do, because why wouldn't you? Maybe not in the initial training models, but as time goes on and you keep making the model better and better, you may as well train it on things like that. Anyway, that's just kind of like the way I think of it as level 2 training data. Level 1 is, of course, just can you keep the vehicle between the navigational buoys and not run into other things and follow the traffic laws. That's like number 1. And then next level is going to be, can you anticipate dangers? I mean, even just with level 1, you have the capacity to be 10 times safer than a human. But people are going to want you to not just be 10 times safer, but also do everything that a human can do as well as a human could do and better. And anticipating dangers is just one of those things. So yeah, so far 4 NAGS with the sunglasses. I mean, after the NHTSA update, I feel like I noticed a few more NAGS. It doesn't feel that bad right now. I do think the sunglasses make a difference. The in-cabin camera cannot see my eyes darting all over the place. I do think, unfortunately, that the NHTSA update actually made people more unsafe by requiring you to constantly be looking down, trying to check for that notification as opposed to keeping your eyes on the road. So I think it had an unintended consequence of actually making things more dangerous, but that's government for you. So yeah, we're coming to a stop here for stoplight. We don't need to, so I'm going to accelerate through. It's the old railroad problem again. It thinks you need to stop for those railroads. And again, it's what I've been saying all along, is I've never really been too concerned. Maybe one situation on a highway where it was misreading the lanes, and this is a big deal. Hey, as we get a automatic window cleaning, thank you, FSD. It's just more about getting embarrassed that you're going to stop unnecessarily or be extra cautious. I mean, I stopped at a railroad track there, didn't need to. Car behind us is, of course, wondering what we're doing. It's not unsafe, it's just not what a human would do. All right, so it wants to change lanes here to the left. It aborted that decision. It doesn't need to change lanes at all. We're going straight all the way through downtown here. So yeah, so far a very smooth drive. Did have to hit the accelerator through that railroad track. By the way, I think I have it on, I think I have it on the medium setting as far as assertiveness goes. I was on the highway the other day and I had it on like chill mode. And when you have it on chill mode, it refuses to pass refuses to pass any vehicle, it just sits behind it. So I changed that because I wanted to test how it was passing vehicles on the highway. So I think I'm in the medium setting right now for assertiveness. These are tight lanes as we go through downtown. A lot of pedestrians. Middle of the day, so a lot of traffic too. I'm pleasantly surprised that the windshield wipers have not just kicked on more. It was interesting that they just took that opportunity at the stoplight to clean the windows. So we got a Lexus turning right here, waiting for pedestrian. We stopped nicely. And I don't think a human would have gone into the left lane there, so I think that's pretty human-like, just to wait as we come up to this red light. We've got a pedestrian on the left that's going to cross. We are picking him up. Still have a red light. So yeah, we're going to be heading straight through here. I love, it sees things that I don't see. I can just glance down at the screen. I saw a pedestrian was on my right blind spot before I even would have been aware that she was there. Pick her up on the nice big display. And counterexample, I saw this guy crossing to the left before the computer did. So interesting, just in the span of 10 seconds there, the computer picked up that girl on my right before I saw her, but I saw the guy crossing to the left before it popped up on the screen here, probably because this Bolt EV was blocking my view. Green light and we take off right away, faster than I would have been able to take off as a human. Bolt EV, Chevy Bolt. I've heard of Chevy Volt. Chevy Bolt? Not familiar with that one, as he's got a stuck windshield wiper pointed in the up direction. Seeing a lot more EVs on the road though, it's a beautiful thing. That is the direction we're going. It's inevitable. We are moving to an EV world. For understandable reasons. I think the government wants to for national security reasons. We want to get off oil. So that's the direction we're going to go. It's incredible how Tesla was able to anticipate and build out the supercharger network before really the mass adoption. They really were ahead of the game there. Impressive foresight. So yeah, we're being nice and cautious at 25 miles an hour. Most people would probably speed here. I'm going to just let it stay within the boundaries of the law. We've got left lane here is a left turn only. This kind of merges down to one lane, and then we have to get to the left lane here since we're in a turn only lane, and it does do that nicely. Maybe a tad later than a human would. And stops for the yellow light. Beautiful part of town. So yeah, we're all going to be driving EVs 20 years from now. It's going to be a beautiful transition, and it feels good to get out ahead of it. It was fun. I mean, it's warming up now. We might get some more snow here. That's just how it works in the Midwest. But it was fun going out and doing some of these videos in the winter and seeing the legacy media attack EVs in the winter. I mean, incredible to really be awake to the coordinated effort that some of these big players are making against electric vehicles. Here's my conclusion, guys. Do you lose a little bit of range in the winter? Yeah, you do when the temperatures get very, very cold. So if you get down to, all right, I gotta hit accelerator here because we don't need to yield. It was gonna be overly cautious in yield. So winter driving, do you lose some range when it gets very, very cold? Yeah, if you get down to 0 degrees Fahrenheit, you're gonna lose some range. I mean, if I get 300 miles in this thing normally, I'm just anticipating I'm gonna get 200 miles. If it's brutally, brutally cold out, I'm not gonna head out on the open road thinking I'm gonna be able to drive more than 200 miles. I don't need to, since there's plenty of superchargers along the way, but it's just a different level of planning until we get to the point where there's superchargers as plentiful as there are gas stations now. That's just the way it's gonna be for a little bit. But I'll say, what is it now? It's 43 degrees out right now. I don't notice any significant loss of range. Is there a little bit? There might be a little bit. I'm running the heater a little bit, but as long as you charge, precondition your battery on a day like today, I don't notice that much range drop at all. So it's really just, if you're in a brutal, brutal Arctic climate, you're gonna lose some range. In the Midwest, I mean, we have days, sure, we have sometimes during the year it's -20 out, Other times of the year, it's 100 degrees out. So, I mean, we see it all here. And I'm not concerned the few, the few brutal Arctic days that we get here about range. And I'm certainly not concerned about anything else. Charged beautifully at the superchargers during that Arctic weather. But honestly, that's only if you're leaving town. For most people, 80% plus people that are traveling less than 50 miles a day, you're plugging it in at night. You're waking up to a full charge, whatever you charge it up to every day. And you're not having to sit there freezing your A off at a gas station in the wintertime. So I think ultimately it's a non-issue. Man, what a beautifully pleasant drive. I haven't had to take over at all other than a couple accelerator pushes when it was being extra cautious. Otherwise, a beautiful, beautiful drive. It's incredible what they accomplished. I mean, I almost feel sad that we're taking these 300,000 plus lines of C++ code and tossing them in the garbage when we go to version 12. But I guess it's just in the spirit of moving through iterations, even if an iteration is a massive, massive effort at designing a beta program with hundreds of thousands of lines of code and then deciding there's a better way to do it through training some supercomputers with millions and millions of lines of visual data or miles of visual data. So, hey, we reached our destination safely, and another beautiful drive. Looking forward to getting version 12 and taking you guys out with me. Appreciate you.